Cavemen. Kingsman. Defeat. Victory. Will the Cavemen rise victorious again? Or will the Kingsmen get their revenge?
Nestled along the banks of the old St. Joe, we bring you to the hallowed grounds of Steel Stadium at Mishawaka High School on this crisp fall afternoon. The anticipation is in the air as we are set for the backyard brawl. Yeah! But that's tonight. Right now, it's time for High School Game Day from Alumni Plaza.
High School Game Day, built by the Mishawaka Network.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to High School Game Day. I'm Isaac Hayes, and I'm joined by Bruce Quick and Evan Bordner, and we are set for arguably the biggest rivalry in northern Indiana as the Penn Kingsmen will travel to Steel Stadium to face off against Mishawaka Cavemen.
Yeah, listen, the atmosphere tonight is crazy. We got loyal fans behind us. Yeah! The Mishawaka faithful, and, you know, they're pretty sure they're going to come out with the win tonight. Yeah! Hey, this is the last scheduled game for the foreseeable future of Penn Mishawaka. It's senior night. If there was a perfect storm for this game and the intensity, tonight would be the night. And it's a grocery store game, right? So we're all going to see each other on Saturday. We got bragging rights, so it's pretty big.
Yeah, you know, what makes this rivalry, I think, so special is that so many of these people have grown up together. You know, these Mishawaka players have grown up with these Penn players. You know, they've been friends throughout, so that always makes the rivalry a little bit more. You know, that childhood rivalry you have when you're playing backyard football. Well, it gets real when you get out in the Steel Stadium. It just means so much to these teams to have this rivalry, which is going to make this last scheduled game so big because this means so much to the community. You know, we mentioned it. It's the grocery store game. You know, everybody's talking about it afterwards, so it's going to be huge.
And it's, you know, Mishawaka could be 0-8 and Penn could be 0-8, but if Mishawaka wins, it's a successful season. If Penn wins, it's a successful season, right? So you could have the worst season in school history, but if you beat Penn, you go down as legends in Mishawaka history forever.
Absolutely. Correct. And as we know, it's such a big deal to these students behind us and the entire community, and it's been that way for a very long time. Let's take a look back at the history of the Backyard Brawl.
Awesome, because it's like more people in there, and it's just going to be packed on the track and all that, and it's just like a dream come true. Like it's like an NFL game.
In this game, it's huge because I know everybody over there. I used to play baseball over at OC Little League and play travel ball with the Penn teams, so I know everybody on that team, and it's just going to be fun to hopefully beat my friends this time.
Always very physical game, and you know, you think about it as a brawl. You know, we're going here, we're going to try to kick your butt, and they're going to try to kick ours.
I remember the first year every game we played away was a homecoming. And the band would play Old McDonald Had a Farm. We came on the field. What is this?
It's dreamlike. I mean, it's as awesome as I could have imagined.
Oh, it feels great. You know, as seniors, we got it done tonight.
We have heart, and that's what it takes to win games. And Penn's a great team, and they're a great team, and we just came back.
No matter what's happened to those players in the past, you got to be focused and go out and meet this challenge.
We just try to take it one play at a time and get the job done.
Another great Penn Mishawaka game. They're always great games. It doesn't make any difference what the records are. It's such a great rivalry, great atmosphere for high school football. It was a great night.
We want to win it for us, but we also want to win it for the community.
And when Mishawaka pops up, it's just like backyard brawl. You know, and we really strap it up and we really play smash mouth football.
We're not really worried about the past as much as a new year. We're a new team.
The way I describe Mishawaka game, it's just fierce. Like everyone's gritting their teeth. Everyone wants to see a big hit.
We got a lively crowd here today,
Yeah,
Isaac.
we do. Lively crowd. Thanks for coming out, guys.
Yeah, thanks for coming out, guys.
All right. And just this past week, the IHSAA released the 5A football sectional bracket. Mishawaka is going to get a first-round bye, and then they'll face off against Elkhart Memorial on November 1st here at Steel Stadium.
Yeah, you know, there's some teams in this. There's some great teams in this 5A sectional. You know, Mishawaka beats Elkhart Memorial. They're going to have to play the winner of Concord, and whoever wins between Elkhart Central and South Bend Adams. And assuming Mishawaka were to go deep, they could see teams like Bishop Dwenger and Fort Wayne Northrop.
Yeah, and on the other side, as we look at the 6A sectional bracket, Penn's going to have a big first-round matchup against Portage. Portage is 1-7, so it should be a nice little warm-up game for Penn. And then assuming they win that one, they're going to play the winner of Warsaw and Chesterton, and I think Bart Curtis is going to want some revenge against the Kingsmen.
Yeah, and you know, the interesting thing is that as Mishawaka got this move up to 5A this past season, Bishop Dwenger also got that move up to 5A, so it's going to be interesting to see if we can face them again this time, you know, a level up.
Yeah, you know, we saw them last year in the semi-state, so that was really just an incredible game by them, and they actually went on to win state. It wasn't a very high-scoring affair, but it was a good game.
And the thing that we're looking at too is the Cavemen potentially have to face the Minutemen, you know, in the second round, or potentially for the sectional championship, right? Yeah. And the Minutemen came in here and we scrimmaged against them, and yeah, it's a scrimmage early in the year, but you know, the Minutemen looked pretty good then, and they're pretty good right now. So it's going to be tough for the Cavemen, but you know, they're mentally tough, and tonight's going to be a big test for them. They pull it off against Penn. The momentum, they can ride into the playoffs, and it'll look pretty good for us down the stretch.
You know, there's definitely some wild games going on tonight. There are definitely some tough games coming up in the sectionals, but we got to jump back to the backyard brawl here. The vast majority of those playing today have been part of one of these classic matchups at some point in their lives. But for one Mishawaka defensive playmaker, this will be his very first time playing in the backyard brawl, and it will be his last.
Way beyond football. Yep. I feel like I've met a lot of lifetime friends here. I like the coaches I love the coaches. I love the players. It's nice. I love the team. I love the community. I love it. I love it because it's a family. It's way different than anything else, and you can tell by when you're out here and we're practicing and warming up for games and we're in the locker room. It's just a family. We're gonna go out there and we're gonna just play football. We're gonna run to the ball every play. We're gonna hit them every play, and we're gonna read the ball every play. We're just gonna do what we have to do to stop them. Yeah, it's a big moment. It's senior night for me, and at a new school, and it's Penn. Like everybody's saying, it's a huge game, so it means a lot. We're gonna stay focused. We're gonna focus on the big goal, and that's winning the game.
And coming up next, we will have an interview with Mishawaka's very own Keith Kinder. Don't go anywhere. High School Game Day will be right back.
Thursday morning, pep rally's going on right around the corner. How fun is that to have the WNDU, Josh Short, all them out here with all your kids?
It's a really neat experience. I had to threaten the kids that they wouldn't dress tomorrow night if they didn't show up, because 5:30 is pretty early to a teenager. It's pretty early to a 38-year-old. But it's really neat once it gets here, and I think they're having a good time right now.
Yeah, definitely. It's great in there. I mean, the energy. I was a little concerned. Everybody was kind of sleepy, but they got on once the cameras got on. So we got a big game coming up here Friday, but the season's been really successful. You've got the 2 losses to teams that I don't believe have lost all season, and then they've played pretty well against some pretty good teams. So how have you felt from the start of the year till now about how the team's progressed?
I think we're on the right track. We're getting better as the season goes on. Probably 4 or 5 plays away from being 8-0. But I think that we learned some valuable things in each of those 2 losses. In addition to losing to those 2 undefeated teams, we've beaten 2 undefeated teams in Central and Marion. So we've played some good teams, and I think that that's prepared us for not just tomorrow night, but for the tournament run that we hopefully can make.
So last week was Marion, big game. Obviously, the kids know it's Mishawaka, just like Penn. Mishawaka kids, they've known each other from church and from schools and all this stuff. The weather was pretty rough out there. I didn't make it out there, but how do you feel about in a really tough spot in that kind of bad weather, cold, rainy? How do you feel about how the team played last Friday?
I was really pleased with a lot of how the game went. We started the game with a 10-minute drive, but we fumbled on the 1-yard line going in. But the next play, we forced a safety. You know what I mean? So, there were some great things, and there's some things that we got to get better at. The conditions last Friday were terrible. The ball was all over the place. It was a stressful kind of game because, the things that you kind of prepared for all week were kind of taken away because of, some of the limitations with the weather. But our kids played hard. That's a fun game to play in because, like you said, the community ties. We have, a lot of respect for Marion's staff. So it was a lot of fun to play in that game last week.
And then lastly, obviously getting to this week, it's been a really crazy week. I talked to Coach Buchmann. He talked about how kind of weird this week is with testing, with pep rally, with, volleyball sectionals, everything going on around here. Tomorrow we don't have school, but you got the big game tonight. What are you hoping to get out of your kids tomorrow night?
Well, I think one of the things that's kind of helped is, we had that Central game where we got rained out. Had to come back and play on a Saturday, so that experience I think can kind of help with the strange week, and just the consistency from the coaching staff that we're keeping everything the same this week. But our kids are excited to play tomorrow, and they're excited because they're playing Penn, but they're excited because they're playing a really good football team as well. So it should be a lot of fun. I hope a lot of people show up and experience this because I've been around high school football my entire life. And I've been to a lot of places. I've seen a lot of games, and there's nothing quite like Penn Mishawaka at Steel Stadium.
Thanks, Coach.
Yep, you bet.
Speaking of leaders for the Cavemen, Mishawaka Schools brought on a new superintendent this school year due to the retirement of Dr. Dean Spiker, who interestingly served as superintendent for both Penn and Mishawaka. We now go over to Matt Rendall, who is with Superintendent Wayne Barker.
We're here in the cave. It's Friday morning. We're getting ready for tonight. No school, so no students around, but we're getting ready for the football game tonight. We got Superintendent Wayne Barker here, first year here. You're coming from Bluffton, a little bit smaller school district. Have you heard or experienced anything with this kind of backyard brawl before?
No, not really. Not to this magnitude, certainly. I'm very excited about seeing this tonight, and it's going to be a great night.
Yeah, so I grew up here. I lived on Gernhardt, which is right back out here. I went to all the games, went to school here. Now we're back teaching here. It's a big deal, so you're in for a treat. It is kind of right now the last scheduled one. What are you expecting your emotions to be out there on the field?
I'm anxious to be out on the field, see the crowd, see really the way probably the crowd's going to envelop the entire field. And that's going to be exciting. Last year, actually, I was watching this game a little bit on my phone because I was already starting to do some investigation into Mishawaka, and I followed much of the work that you all did on Mishawaka Network, actually. So I ended up seeing part of the game, know how exciting the finish to the game was a year ago, and looking forward to a great game tonight.
There's been a lot of cool things going on this year. You've been in the job, over 90 days now. You've been working it. You've got a lot of things going on. What has really excited you about being here in School City, Mishawaka?
Without a doubt, the people. The people here are amazing. I've learned so much from all the people here that do great things for kids every day. And then secondly, without a doubt, would just be the students that we have. Hearing their stories. We have some amazing kids here, and really the future's bright for this community with the great things that are happening with our students here.
And then we've got to get to the game tonight. Okay, so it's Penn Mishawaka. It's everybody's talking about it. It'll be on every news channel tonight. It'll be all over the place. I'm going to put you on a little bit of a spot, and there is a wrong answer to this question. Okay, so there is a wrong answer, but who you got tonight? Penn or Mishawaka?
This is not even a decision to make. I mean, if I could be Lee Corso right now, I'd be sticking my caveman hat on, and without a doubt, I'm picking Mishawaka tonight.
Perfect. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
An interesting story with the Cavemen squad is the father and son combo of Coach Ryan Sargent and his son, Cavemen captain Ethan Sargent. Earlier this week, we got a chance to catch up with the duo and talk about not only their relationship, but what another coach has done for them.
Tonight is the final home game of the regular season for senior Ethan Sargent as the starting center. It is also the last time his dad, Ryan, will be his football coach.
It's gone pretty quick. Seems like just yesterday he was playing MFL football down at Merrifield Park. Looked like a little bobblehead running around with that giant helmet. And now he fills out of uniform quite nicely.
And as for senior night for Ethan.
I'm really looking forward to, I've never had a senior night before, but I've always watched the upperclassmen go through it, and I think it'll be really interesting to be in those shoes. Really excited for that.
I'm not looking forward to senior night at all. I've been coaching him since the first time he could put a helmet on, and this is going to be pretty rough. I'll probably be crying.
Even more special for the father-son combo is what a former coach did for them.
Well, it's really interesting. Both had the same number, too, as well. Back when Coach Curtis was here, he set me up with that, number 74. So, yeah, I guess I know he played O-line a bit, too. So there is that. It's pretty interesting, I think.
Yeah, that was never planned. That was a Bart Curtis thing. Coach Curtis did that. He gave Ethan my old number. He thought it'd be cool. And it's been very, very cool.
The backyard brawl comes with the highest of emotions. The atmosphere, the rivalry, it gives that USC versus Notre Dame or that Alabama versus Auburn feel.
Yeah, and I think for the first ever high school game day, we got a pretty good turnout back here. Yeah, the fans are intense. They're excited. How excited are you guys about this rivalry?
We're gonna win!
To say the less, I think they are excited, and I think, honestly, the countdown to game day is going to be pretty intense, and it's going to be hard to stay in your seats all day just thinking about the game and the atmosphere, and it's Friday night, and these guys are on fall break, so they're going to, start their fall break well and hopefully end their fall break well.
And, emotions run high during this game. There might be a little skirmish or two, who knows. But coming off of emotions, Coach Mike Buchmann has had this game not only impact him as a coach, but also as a son.
In my senior year, we got the football first, and we drove the ball right down the field and scored in 7 or 8 plays or whatever. And we thought, even then I can remember in the fall of 1990, we thought, this is it. This is finally it. When it really was finally it, I was on the staff. I was an offensive line coach when we beat them after, a 30-year drought. And it was such a special time because, special in a strange way to say that, but my dad ran the sideline. He ran the flag, the red first down marker on our sideline, and so he was always right there, but he didn't talk to me on the sidelines. He would always just kind of give me a look or whatever, but he tried to remain, a passive part of the game. He didn't want to interact with me and get me in trouble or anything. So, but when he was doing that game, my mom was in the hospital and very sick. And 24 hours after we beat them, just about exactly. I can remember being in the stadium at 10 o'clock at night, and we were getting the kids all out of there because, we were on the field forever afterwards. And it was 10:15 or something. Exactly 24 hours after we beat them, my mom died in the hospital. So that has such a big emotional hook, because I remember that, being the best. My dad even said this, Mike, this has got to be the best 24 hours and the worst 24 hours of your life so far. And it was hard, but my mom had been dying for a long time and was not doing well. So it was bittersweet. And I remember my dad wasn't a guy who cried very much ever in life. And he was so overcome with the fact that, obviously his wife was dying, but then also that something happened that was really monumental. I mean, there were other grown men that the tears were streaming down their face after that game. And I just remember hugging my dad after the game, and it was, it was really a bittersweet moment because there's a lot of emotions mixing right there, and it was huge to win that game, and I was really happy. But at the same time, I had this background story rolling at the same time that wasn't so great. But I just remember that. Like, those things will be etched indelibly. I'll never forget those moments. So, yeah.
And that was such a touching story told by Cavemen coach Mike Buchmann.
Yeah, it's stories like those that make this game so special. I mean, people are going to remember this game for the rest of their lives, okay? I remember playing in the Penn game. These kids are going to remember playing in the overtime thriller last year, right? And this game is going to be remembered forever. And people like this have great stories to tell, and that's why, we're out here. We're telling these stories, right? Because we want people to hear about it and the intensity of this game.
And, I would venture to say that if you go out and look and kind of search, that you would find stories like that all over the place of how much this game has meant to people over the course of this rivalry, different memories here and there. I know my dad personally played in the game, my brother played in the game, and they've got plenty. So multiply that by how many people have played in this game, and you've got, these tons of incredible stories that come out of this.
Yeah, and even the incredible stories, just how much it means to the fans. When the story was released that the Cavemen and the Kingsmen weren't going to match up for the foreseeable future, I mean, I'm pretty sure the community was outraged there for a couple of days. I mean, the social media was hot and heavy, and fans want this game. They love this game. And, how much do you guys love this game?
We love it!
Yeah. So it's stories like these, it's the intensity, it's the whole atmosphere of having a game day for a high school game that is just, reasons of why we should continue this rivalry.
Right. And coming up, our guest picker, Big Perm from U93, will arrive on set, and then we'll make our picks. Stay tuned for High School Game Day.
We're back here on High School Game Day with Athletic Director for Mishawaka Schools, Dean Huppert, and wanted to talk to you today about just kind of the intensity and the environment that's going to be tonight at the game.
Well, I think it starts with game day. I mean, you get these people out here, you get game day coming to Mishawaka. Mishawaka Penn is a special game because their neighbors, their community members will come out. We expect a packed house tonight, but when you start thinking about this game, it's not just about football. It's about friends getting together, and it becomes an event. So this is going to be special. And we appreciate you guys being out here, being inventive, and just making a difference in Mishawaka. I mean, you took a risk. You got fans out here. You got the Cavemen here. And you bring in the big dogs. You got Big Perm to come out from U93, so that's special.
Yeah, we're excited. We're excited about it, and we're happy everyone can join us. But Keith Kinder always talks about, we got to have the fans here. They're a big part of the game, and in some cases, they help us win games. What is that going to mean tonight?
What's been unbelievable this year is we've had 3 straight road games, and we've had more fans in our student section than the opposing fans the last 3 times. It's going to be nuts tonight. We had talked about our band and possibly moving them because we know we're going to have so many students, and our band fought. They said, no, we're part of that student section. We're going to be up there tonight, and we're going to cheer as loud. So we may have to expand that student section out wide. We may have to have standing room only, but it's going to be incredible just to see the whiteout tonight with Mishawaka fans on one side and then the team from across the river wearing another color across the opposing stands.
Yeah. Talking about the new things for the fans, I mean, we could sit here and talk about the logistics and stats of the games all day, but, I mean, we're sitting in a brand new Alumni Plaza. We got a huge video board out there. We got new features and new things that are all for not only the success of our football team, but for our fans in the atmosphere.
Well, we've seen this happen. Last year, it was a construction project the entire season. The Penn fans who come over here, I think they're going to walk in and say, wow, look at this place. Alumni Plaza is just gorgeous. Our video scoreboard, we brought in the monster message board the last game, and we had a portable board to experiment with it. Now we have the Mishawaka Network. We broadcast. We have Game Day. We have the video scoreboard, 24 feet by 13. It's 720 resolution. The videos that we're going to be able to play to tell the story of Mishawaka. You talk about high expectations. The strength and conditioning room, the Iron Strength and Conditioning Center, it's beautiful. It's helped our athletes across the board, boys and girls, 19 varsity sports, and our cheerleaders are using that room. And then you talk about the track. The last time Penn was here, that track wasn't done. It was just a black surface, and then we tore it up. We brought in a new track. Now, we're the first time in school history, the girls' regional champs. Our boys and girls this year are hoping to do great in the NIC and sectional. It's going to be incredible, and it all starts with Dr. Dean Spiker, and now Wayne Barker, our superintendent, the support we have from our school board. You talk about high expectations at Mishawaka. You talk about a culture of excellence. We have it in academics, fine arts, and of course, we strive every day in athletics.
Yeah, so what you're telling me is not only is the football team going to be surprised with the outcome on the score, the Penn football team, but the fans are going to be surprised tonight with what they see at Mishawaka.
Actually, I don't think the Mishawaka fans are going to be surprised at all.
The Penn fans, right?
The Mishawaka fans expect. We
Right.
know what to expect tonight, right? Yeah! The Penn fans, I think they're going to be pleasantly surprised at what's happening at Mishawaka. And just like Mishawaka fans look at Penn and say, you know what, we're happy for the great things that they do, we hope that Penn fans say the same thing and say, look at that, they're taking strides, they're making a difference and helping students. At the end of the day, Penn and Mishawaka might be rivals, but we're all about kids. They want the best for their kids, we want the best for our kids, and there are a lot of parents, you got to remember, a lot of parents that now have kids at Penn used to go to Mishawaka. We have parents that used to go to Mishawaka that now are at Penn, and so it's a community and it's a great rivalry, and we'd love to be able to host this game tonight.
Yeah, and last thing, talking about strides and, you know, for the kids, you would still be considered a fairly new athletic director and in the system. Tell me about your first backyard brawl to now. What are some of the biggest improvements and some of the things that have helped you make it to what it's going to be tonight?
Yeah, it's a little crazy. After 28 years of doing television, I was so fortunate to be able to come in here and be the director of athletics K through 12, and we've been building programs. But one of the biggest difference for our football program is head coach Keith Kinder. What an amazing job he's done. Coach Kinder, last year, in his first year, takes the team all the way to semi-state. This year, we had some holes to fill. We had the all-time leading running back, Chris Harness, leave the program. He graduates. Sam Shively, an incredible team last year. And here we are, 6-2, knocking on the door of a conference championship. We've got a bye in the sectional. Of course, Drew Mason. Yeah, we got some Drew Mason fans here, but we feel like we are putting the pieces in place, and it starts down at the lower levels. Our head coaches across the board are the CEOs of their program, and that includes Keith Kinder, our director of football operations, Greg Smith, the assistant coaches they have. They go to the MFL games. They go to the 7th and 8th grade games. Our 7th grade John Young Middle School team won the Big 11 this year. The future is bright. Last year, our 8th grade won the Big 11. The future is bright for Mishawaka football, and we couldn't be more excited.
Well, hey, guys, that's Dean Huppert, Director of Athletics for Mishawaka Schools, and I think he's one of the most excited people here tonight for the game. So can we give a big round of applause for Dean?
This is going to be special, and thank you for all the things that you guys do. I mean, Isaac and Evan and yourself, I mean, this was your vision. You were able to put this together, and the vision that you guys had with the Mishawaka Network, promoting the games. We didn't have cavemensports.com a few years ago. We didn't have a Twitter account, and what the kids at Mishawaka have been able to do, this is just one more example right out here with Gameday. So this is cool, and everybody, if you're not at the game yet, come on out and watch Mishawaka Penn
We're going to see you tonight.
It's going to be epic.
At 7 p.m., the backyard brawl, gates open at 5:30. Be here.
Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, the moment you've all been waiting for. It's Big Perm from E93. Thanks for having me.
Welcome, Big Perm.
Good morning. Thank you guys for having me. I'm pumped to be here.
Hey, Perm, how'd the dance party go this morning?
It was good.
Was it good?
Dance party was hyped today. Hopefully you heard it.
And now it's time to get into the nitty-gritty. Let's make our selections for tonight's games. First off, let's go with the battle of the winless teams, and that'll be St. Joe and John Adams.
Yeah, you know, absolutely. When you have an 0-8 team on either side, it's really hard to kind of, what do you pick off of, really? St. Joe played Mishawaka. They tried, they played hard. Mishawaka was able to pull out the win pretty big there. Adams, they got Ira Armstead, right, on his way to Virginia.
Overrated.
Oh, boy, listen to that.
Overrated.
Listen, I don't believe in overrated.
Overrated.
Adams gets it done.
Okay. Want me to go second here? I'm going to go St. Joe. I heard that St. Joe gave Mishawaka a little bit of a more fight than Adams did, so St. Joe for me.
You know what? When the Cavemen traveled to St. Joe, they gave us a good fight, but it was at St. Joe. The game we played, Adams was here. Ira Armstead's going to Virginia. Go Eagles.
Oh.
Virginia side. They played our JV.
Listen, so both teams are winless. That's a big headline, but the bigger headline is, how much of a disappointment has St. Joe been? I mean, they were poised to have a good season, returning key players at that with Driscoll and their quarterback. But, I think St. Joe's defeated, so I'm going to have to go Eagles on this one as well.
Alrighty. Alrighty. Now, we're going to get it to Concord facing off against former Cavemen coach Bart Curtis and his Warsaw Tigers.
You know, I think this is going to be a really interesting matchup. I mean, you got two 7-1s going against each other, 5-1 in the NLC. I think it's going to be a great game. I think it's going to be back and forth. In the end, I take Warsaw. Bart ball, baby. Wishbone all day.
I was feeling Warsaw. I'm seeing high points per game, but I'm thinking colder weather and good old defense wins championships. I'm seeing good defense for Concord. I'm going with Concord with a W today.
Wins games. So Bart Curtis was here. You know, he did a great job here, and he's done a great job out at Warsaw. We got the triple option out there. We got the triple option at Mishawaka. Triple option wins football games, baby. Go Tigers.
Well, see, that's interesting because Concord, I mean, they are on a revenge tour from last year, right? So last year they finished with 6-6 and what seemed like they could have made a deep run in the NLC with a weaker NLC last year. Warsaw is going to be good as usual. Bart puts together good teams offensively, and triple options is hard to defend, but Concord's got one of the best defenses in the state, and I think they're out for some revenge this year. They're going to claim second place tonight. I'm going to pick Concord over Warsaw.
Yeah.
There we go.
I like it.
Alrighty. So now we're going to move on to the Cavemen's first sectional opponent, as it's going to be Elkhart Memorial, as they'll go off against Northridge.
You know, listen, both these teams are well, excuse me, not both of them. Northridge is 4-4, actually, their entire record. And Memorial, we have 2-6 for 2019. I mean, either team, you know, they've been performing a little bit. I think I'm going with the 500 team Northridge. I think they got it.
Yeah, kind of agree with Evan there. I'm seeing more points allowed on Memorial than they are scoring. So got to go with Northridge with the W tonight.
Taking their buggies to the game. But you know what? Tonight, Elkhart Memorial, excuse me, they're gonna be they won't be a high school very much longer. Neither will Central. Oh. And I think this one's gonna mean more to the Chargers. So I'm gonna take the Chargers tonight.
I mean, if it meant more to the Chargers, they would have beat the Blue Blazers in Week 1, right?
Oh.
So they're 2-6. They're not doing well. They're 2-4 in the NLC, and I just don't see them pulling out a win. Their defense is, well, non-existent. So I'm going to go with Northridge over.
And next matchup, we're going to take it to the Cavemen's opponent last week, Marion, and they're going to face off against South Bend, Washington.
You know, I think this is another one that's going to be really interesting. You got Marion at 7-1. They're one loss to the Cavemen. You got Washington 6-2, baby. Yeah, 6-2. Listen, Washington has their first-year head coach here. He's done a great job. But this is a big game. This Marion team is really quite incredible. They played Mishawaka hard. Couldn't quite get it done, though. I think Marion wins tonight.
I'm liking it. Good point, 7. Yeah, I'm seeing just crazy good stats here for Marion. 36 points a game, allowing about 5. You can't beat that. Marion with the W tonight. Go get them, Knights.
And you know what? I'll tell you guys what. Washington, they've impressed a lot of people this year. But Marion's going to take the win. Easy.
Hey, so Marion's pretty good on defense, except for when they played the Cavemen, but all year long they've been pretty good. They've been pretty good, but Washington, their first-year head coach has brought them to a 6-2 record from last year being 3-7. Washington's unranked in the coaches and the media poll, and so I'm thinking the upset tonight. Washington over Marion.
Okay.
All righty.
Season fun.
All righty. Now, this next game, very important in the NIC conference, and that's going to be Elkhart Central as they'll take on New Prairie.
Tell you what, New Prairie is one good team. They've been pretty good consistently these last couple of years. Elkhart Central also pretty good. You know, this is also going to be their last year as a high school as they will be merging with Memorial. But I'll tell you what, that 8-0 record to me, that looks hard to beat, guys. I think I'm going New Prairie.
Yeah, the Cougars, New Prairie, undefeated right now. I mean, that's a lot on the line. You know they're getting hyped up for this game. They want to end the season undefeated, so 43 points a game. I mean, that's a no-brainer for me. New Prairie Cougars getting that W tonight. Sorry, Elkhart Central.
I'll tell you guys what. New Prairie came to Steel Stadium and beat the Cavemen. And Mishawaka beat Elkhart. So therefore, just by the logic speaking, you got to take New Prairie in this one.
There's a little philosophy there. I like that.
Yeah,
that's good.
Yeah. Well, you know, honestly, I think New Prairie should be 7-1 right now, but they are 8-0. They are 8-0, and so, you know, every game that the Blue Blazers have won, they've scored over 30, and also every game that they've won, they've held their opponent to under 21, and I just don't. They might hold the Cougars to 21 in the first quarter. So I think the Cougars are going to be tough. They're 8-0. They're number 1 in the coaches poll and number 1 in the media poll. So I got to go with the Cougars on this one.
We love Central!
And now, for the most important game on our list, the backyard brawl, baby, Penn and Mishawaka.
I'll tell you what, guys, this is always my favorite game of the year. I think it's every Mishawaka fan's favorite game of the year. I would venture to say it's every Penn fan's favorite game of the year. 7 o'clock tonight, it is going to go down in Steel Stadium. There is no atmosphere in high school football like the Penn versus Mishawaka matchup. Now we got to go to who's going to win this. These last few years, this game has been an awesome one to watch. I mean, it's been so close. They've went throughout. Usually, traditionally, defenses have a hard time stopping the triple option. Penn's defense is pretty good. I think it's going to go back and forth. I think it's going to be close. But this is my honest opinion. I think Mishawaka edges them out. Gets the dub tonight. Go Cavemen!
I'm going to be honest. When I first saw this, I'm thinking Mishawaka Penn. And we all know Penn is just a powerhouse in every sport. So I originally was going to pick Penn. Looked over it. Oh, I'm not done yet. I'm seeing a 4-4 record for Penn, very unorthodox for them. I'm thinking it's a down year here at Mishawaka. I'm going to Cavemen tonight with the W. Go Mishawaka.
Well, looking at this game, I mean, you grow up, you want to play in this game. If you go to Mishawaka, you go to Penn. This is the last game for the foreseeable future. The intensity is going to be unlike any other we've seen in a backyard brawl. We're expecting crowds of over 10,000 people tonight. Wow. So the place is going to be packed and it's going to be hype. But the thing is, it's at Steel Stadium. So that's going to be huge for the Cavemen and their home field advantage. Looking at that 4-4 record, it's deceiving because they've lost to 3 number 1 ranked teams. Valparaiso, number 1, Cincinnati, number 1, and the team they faced in Chicago also ranked at number 1 in their state. So they've lost 3 games to quality opponents. The teams that they played in the other states are pretty good powerhouses, but I think that, you know, Penn's going to struggle. Looking at the conference, though, they're both 3-1 in the conference. And if we look at the stats, Penn has scored almost as much points as Mishawaka has scored in the conference, and they've given up almost as much points as they've given up. So I think this is going to be a pretty even matchup. However, we can't go against the Cavemen in this one. They're going to be ready to go. They're going to pull out the win on this one. We're going Cavemen.
Now listen, I'll tell you guys what. Mishawaka, they're looking pretty good this year. But Penn, these guys, they lost to 3 number 1 teams. They were number 1 teams. Mishawaka might have lost to the same number 1 teams. But then again, we're out at Steel Stadium tonight, right? Yeah. Steel Stadium. I'll tell you guys what. Go Cavemen.
All right, you heard it here first. 7 o'clock tonight here at Steel Stadium. You will not want to miss this. Mishawaka